Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into just one chapter, but it's packed. Genesis 26.
Right, the story of Isaac.
Exactly, Abraham's son. And he's dealing with stuff that feels very current, actually. Famine, fear,
Prosperity, too, and the conflict that can bring.
yeah, resource fights, finding peace, even making alliances. It's all in there.
It really is. And you see echoes of Abraham's life, but Isaac's own journey. It's fascinating how the divine promises meet his very human reactions.
Okay, so let's jump in. It opens, and boom, famine, just like in Abraham's day.
A serious crisis, not just a bit dry, existential threat for these people.
So Isaac heads towards Gerar, Philistine territory, ruled by King Abimelech.
A moment of crisis, forcing a move. And right then, in that vulnerable state,
The Lord appears to him
yeah,
directly.
not just a feeling, clear communication.
And the instructions are super specific, aren't they? First, what not to do.
Right, do not go down to Egypt, which would be the
Right.
logical place, for food.
Instead, live in the land where I tell you. Stay put. Stay in Canaan.
Even with the famine, it's a test of trust right from the start.
And with that command come these huge promises.
Promises tied right back to the covenant with Abraham. It's explicit.
I will be with you and will bless you. Presence, blessing, land. To you and your descendants I will give all these lands.
Confirming the oath sworn to Abraham, it's about continuity.
And the scale. Descendants like the stars, all these lands, and that huge scope through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed.
But then there's that interesting reason given why Isaac's getting this now.
Ah, yeah, it points straight back to his father.
Because Abraham obeyed me and kept my requirements, my commands, my decrees, and my laws.
So the blessing for Isaac is directly linked to Abraham's faithfulness. That's quite a connection.
It is. It suggests the experience of blessing, maybe not the covenant itself, but living it out, is tied to obedience, a legacy thing.
And Isaac, he listens. He stays in Gerar, obeys that first command.
So you've got this crisis, this direct guidance, these massive promises, all tied to history and faithfulness. It really sets a complex stage.
It does. And then, well, things get a bit human again. Very human.
Uh-oh. Rebecca?
Rebecca, the men there start asking about her.
Hmm.
And Isaac, well, he does something familiar.
He says, she is my sister, doesn't he?
He does, and the text tells us exactly why. Fear. He's afraid they'll kill him because she's beautiful.
That same fear we saw with Abraham. It's quite something, that repetition. He literally thinks they might kill me for her.
But you can't keep that up forever, can you?
Apparently not.
Time passes, maybe he gets comfortable, and then Abimelech, the king, happens to look out a window.
And sees.
Sees Isaac caressing Rebecca. The text uses that word. Clearly not how you'd treat your sister.
Right. The game is up.
Abimelech calls him in. She's your wife. Why did you say she's your sister?
And Isaac just admits it, because I thought I might die because of her. Straight fear.
But Abimelech's reaction is the fascinating part here. He's not angry about being lied to, not primarily.
No, he's concerned about something else, isn't he?
Yeah, about the potential consequences for his people. He says, what have you done to us? One of the men could have slept with her. You'd have brought guilt on us.
Wow. So his concern is ethical, communal guilt, not just personal offense.
Exactly. Which is pretty remarkable. And he doesn't just scold Isaac, he takes action.
Issues a decree, right?
A protective one. Anyone who harms Isaac or Rebecca will be put to death.
So the foreign king ends up protecting the covenant figure who was acting out of fear. It's ironic.
Deeply ironic. What does this repeating sister story tell us? About fear, maybe about faith under pressure. And Abimelech looking, well, kind of noble here.
It definitely highlights how persistent fear is, even when you've just had divine promises. And yes, Abimelech acts with a certain civic virtue, protecting his people from potential wrongdoing. It complicates the simple us versus them picture.
Okay, so that deception happens, but the story quickly pivots back to the blessing.
Right. Isaac plants crops there in Gerar.
And gets, what was it, 100-fold return?
100-fold.
Yeah.
In that same year, during a famine.
The text is clear why. Because the Lord blessed him. No ambiguity.
It's supernatural abundance, directly linked to the promise.
And it just keeps growing. He gets rich, then very rich. Flocks, herds, servants.
Just massive, visible wealth accumulation.
And you know what often follows that kind of visible success?
Oh, yeah.
The Philistines envied him, plain and simple, because he was so wealthy.
And envy leads to action, hostile action.
Yeah, they start stopping up the wells, Abraham's wells, filling them with dirt.
Which is a huge deal in that environment. Water is life. It's a direct attack on his livelihood, his ability to sustain that blessing.
And then Abimelech himself steps in again.
This time not to protect him, though.
No. This time he says, "Move away. You've become too powerful for us."
So the very blessing that came from staying put now leads to his expulsion. The power becomes a threat.
It's another layer, isn't it? How blessing can cause friction. And Isaac's response.
He just leaves, doesn't fight, doesn't argue much.
He moves away, settles in the valley of Gerar. A strategic retreat, maybe? De-escalation?
Seems like it. Choosing to yield that space rather than fight for it right then. But the resource conflict isn't over.
Not at all. Which leads us to the wells. This is a big part of the chapter.
What's the first thing he does in the valley?
He reopens his father's wells, the ones the Philistines had blocked, and gives them the same names Abraham used.
Reclaiming legacy. Connecting back.
Oh.
And they dig a new one.
And find water, fresh water. Success.
Momentarily.
Because the local herdsmen immediately start a fight. The water is ours.
Classic resource conflict. And Isaac names the well based on the experience.
Esek, meaning disputed or contention. He literally names the conflict.
Then they digged another well.
Same story. Another quarrel.
So he names that one Sitna. Accusation. Enmity. The conflict is escalating in name too.
So what does he do?
He moves again. Just keeps going.
Moves on, digs another well, and this time,
Finally, no quarrel.
peace. And he names this well Rehoboth.
Saying, now the Lord has given us room.
And we will flourish in the land. Room to flourish.
That progression is powerful, isn't it? Esek, Sitna, Rehoboth. Dispute, enmity, room.
What does that tell you? Naming the struggle, then naming the peace? Persistent searching.
It feels like resilience. A strategy of finding peace through separation, not confrontation. Patiently seeking the space where the blessing can actually, take root without constant fighting. The names mark the journey.
So from Rehoboth, that place of room, he travels again. Up to Beersheba.
And there, another divine encounter.
That same night, the Lord appears again.
More reassurance.
Yes. I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you. Same core message. Presence, blessing, descendants, all for Abraham's sake.
Grounding him again in that covenant promise.
And Isaac's actions at Beersheba feel like putting down roots. He builds an altar.
Worship, remembrance.
Calls on God's name, pitches his tent.
Settling in.
And his servants dig a well there, claiming the space.
And just as he's settling, getting established.
An unexpected knock at the tent door, metaphorically speaking.
Who is it?
Abimelech. The king who kicked him out of Gerar.
No way! After telling he was too powerful.
Yes. And he brings his advisor, Osatheth, and his army commander, Phugel. It's a formal delegation.
Wow. What does Isaac say?
He's direct. Why are you here? You were hostile. You sent me away. Basically, what do you want now?
Fair question.
Yeah.
And Abimelech's answer.
This is maybe the most stunning part of the chapter. He says, "We saw clearly that the Lord was with you."
They saw it.
That's what he says. So we said, let's make a treaty. They want an agreement because they recognized God's blessing on Isaac.
Incredible. So seeing the divine favor actually changed their stance from hostility to seeking alliance.
Seems so. She asks for a non-aggression pact. Do us no harm, just as we didn't molest you. We treated you well.
Yeah.
Okay, a bit of spin there, maybe.
Yeah, forgetting the wells, perhaps.
All right. But the core is, now you are blessed by the Lord. That's the reason they came.
Pragmatism meets theology almost. They see God's power with Isaac and want peace.
Isaac agrees. He throws a feast, they eat, drink, swear oaths the next morning. A covenant.
Peace treaty secured.
And then timing is everything. That same day,
The well.
his servants come running. We found water. At the well they were digging right there in Beersheba.
Confirmation upon confirmation.
Isaac names the well Sheba, and the text explicitly links it. That's why the town is called Beersheba.
Yep.
Linking the well, Sheba, maybe meaning seven or oath, and the oath Sheber.
Place of the oath, place of the well, resource and relationship sealed together.
It's amazing how that visible blessing turned former adversaries into allies seeking peace. It shows God's favor isn't just like an internal feeling, it has external impact.
A powerful statement about how observed blessing can reshape relationships, even foster peace.
So after all the conflict, the resolution, the covenant, the chapter ends on a different note. A quick one.
Abrupt almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it just mentions Esau, Isaac's son. He gets married at 40.
To two Hittite women, Judith and Basemath, local Canaanites.
Outside the chosen line. And the very last line.
Those marriages were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah.
Oof. So after finding external peace, external room, there's this sharp note of internal family sorrow.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? You solve one set of problems, navigate external conflicts, find your Rehoboth.
And then there's still pain or difficulty, sometimes right inside your own home. Life's complex.
Keeps it real. Resolution in one area doesn't erase challenges in another.
So, wrapping up this journey through Genesis 26, we saw Isaac face famine, fall into that old fear-based deception.
But then experience incredible blessing, which led to envy and expulsion.
He navigated well disputes, persistently seeking peace, naming the struggle.
Until he found Rehoboth, that room. Then received more divine assurance at Beersheba.
And made that surprising covenant with Abimelech, driven by their recognition of God's blessing on him.
All capped off with that note of family grief. A full slice of life.
Those wells really stand out, don't they? Esek, Sitnah, Rehoboth, Sheba at Beersheba, they're vital resources, flashpoints for conflict, but also symbols. Symbols of provision, of finding peace, of covenant.
Definitely. Markers on the journey.
So think about this. How do the contested resources or conflicts in your life shape your path? What does that persistent search for Rehoboth, for that space to truly flourish, look like for you, even when disputes keep arising? Something to chew on.